So next we will move on to PG-306, which used to be known as PG-MC-102, but it's now PG-306. First, I will give it over to Shane, and I believe this bill is sponsored by Delegate Chris Valderrama.
PG-306-24 is titled Prince George's County Speed Monitoring Systems on Maryland Route 210, Indian Head Highway Penalties. As mentioned, it's sponsored by Delegate Valderrama, and it increases civil penalties for violations recorded by speed monitoring systems on Route 210 in Prince George's County. And it specifically affects those violations that are second or subsequent violations, or that involve exceeding the maximum speed limit by certain amounts.
All right, and I have one person signed up. If Ms. Parker can make her way to the stage, we'll hear from the bill sponsor for 3 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair. First, I'd just like to say thank you to the delegation for those of you who are new. If this doesn't go this year, I'll keep bringing it back. Just letting the delegation know and the members here who have attended. Make a long story short, I've been working on, the delegation has been working on, but I've been primary sponsor on this piece of legislation and speed camera legislation for the last, I want to say 5 years or so. Last session, this current year, we moved this bill forward. Basically, making a long story short, it's for recidivism drivers on 210. For those of you who have been driving on Indian Head Highway, as I do almost on a daily basis, unfortunately, we are known, that route is known as the highway of death. AAA knows it. The whole world knows it. It's unfortunate. One death is too many. So having said that, I pushed legislation this last session, one for additional speed cameras, one reason being construction zone cameras were taken down because of no longer construction. And second, to get at this negative impact that we're having on 210 with drivers who are driving excessive speeds. And I don't mean 12 miles over the speed limit. I mean 180, 150. I don't even know what automobiles here can drive that fast. But having said that, they're only getting $40 fines. I think we can all agree that is awful, detestable. I just want to say for those who are new to the delegation, we have moved this bill forward out of delegation onto the House Standing Committee in the House of Delegates, only to come to the floor and not be brought up. We can talk behind the scenes about reasons why or what have you, but I will put out here that there have been ongoing conversations, not with just with the advocates from District 26. Route 210 affects Charles County as well. So let's be mindful of that. And for those who don't know, Route 210 is a state highway, but for whatever reason, troopers are not watching over it. We have Prince George's County Police, which thank God, but because we're short-staffed with law enforcement, they can only do but so much. I want to thank the Environment Transportation Committee for all their work that they've been doing on it, and the subcommittee. Like I said, I will be bringing this back every year until we get this through. And I'll end with saying that there have been conversations with the governor's administration. Many of you may have known, and it has come out in recent press, that he is supporting additional penalties when it comes to work construction sites. I've had ongoing conversations with them. I'm not saying that they're with us just yet, but that is the ongoing conversation, and they are definitely listening. So I just want to thank everyone for coming out to stand by District 26 and everyone who uses Route 210, especially to the delegation. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. We have one person signed up, Ms. All right, make your way to the podium then. All right, Ms. Parker.
So I'll be quick for the floor. Thank you, Delegate Valderrama, for putting forth this bill. I will say that I haven't grown up in Prince George's County pretty much my entire life. Those state troopers were out there when I learned how to drive. So, but in context to this, I think I'm going to reiterate the message that I said earlier in relation to the funding for the metal detectors. I think we spoke last time this bill came up. I'm really interested in making sure that we have legislation that is thoughtful enough to think about things to end it on the front end as opposed to having penalties on the back end. And so I encourage you to think about an amendment that would divert funding to have a robust driver's education program for our youth in that surrounding area, which would be the Friendly Senior High School and the Oxon Hill Senior High School in that particular area, as well as diverting funding to make sure there's driver education courses for those who have over a couple of different penalties. I'm really concerned that when we talk about the county of Prince George's County, it being predominantly Black and brown, and wanting to make sure that we change behaviors that cause damage to our particular community, that we're also not over penalizing people and putting things in perspective to where they can't move forward. Again, I'm not against this bill. What I am saying is that there should be amendments put in this bill to ensure that we don't even get to the place and where people are excessively speeding, where they're putting themselves and other people at harm. Because paying a ticket after the fact, if you crashed in someone's car, that's after the fact. So thank you.
I apologize. I do have a couple people signed up on this one. Just my spreadsheet got moved around because the bill got moved around. So next I have Tamara Davis Brown. And
so I'm going to be very brief because fellow members of the Maryland 210 Traffic Safety Committee are here as well to testify. The only thing that I wanted to emphasize tonight is the fact that the 2 fatalities that we have had in 2023 have not been Prince George's County residents. And I know this delegation and my Delegate Valderrama, Delegate Woods, and Delegate Turner have all been fighting to try to get this legislation passed. And there's been some resistance from folks in southern delegations, particularly Charles County and maybe Calvert County. However, unfortunately, the 2 people that have passed away on 210, one was a resident of Waldorf, and the other one was a resident of Chesapeake Beach. So this bill not only impacts us, but it also impacts them, and it's for their safety and their livelihood as well. I thank you, and I'll let the rest of my 210 Maryland Safety Committee speak. Have a good evening.
okay, thank you. Next I have Patricia Monroe.
Good evening. My name is Patricia Monroe, and I live directly off of Livingston Road when you come off of 295. I have, over the past 20 years of living in my home, I have not only witnessed drivers speeding on 210, but have heard the numerous crashes which result from speeding. I have also been awakened from my sleep by vehicles and motorcycles racing up and down Maryland 210. Many residents will think increasing the number of cameras and fines for speeding on 210 is unfair. But what is really unfair is putting other people who abide by the laws, safety at risk, but because they have no regard for human life and the laws. I have personally witnessed, like I said, many times, many accidents. On one occasion, I was on 210 and a vehicle went past me so fast that it literally shook my Honda Accord, which has a little weight to it. As a former defensive instructor driver, I used to always tell my class, the one thing you always want to do is leave in enough time so that you will not be late, because most people who are speeding is usually because they're late. George Mason Drive in Virginia has a speed limit of 25 miles per hour. The fine on that road starts at $200 and it is increased during school hours. Needless to say, you don't see anybody speeding on that road. Fines in the district start at $100. When you go over 11 miles over the speed limit, it is increased. You don't see them flying up and down 295 like you used to either. Virginia reduced the speed limit on parts of Route 1 because it had a higher incidence of speed-related crashes compared to other sections of Richmond Highway. They consistently set up radar on Route 1. I believe increasing the fines and adding additional cameras on 210 will slow drivers down and possibly save lives. Therefore, I am in support of this bill and believe that it should become Maryland law.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for 306? You can state your name for the record.
Okay, my name is Reverend Dr. Robert L. Screen Sr. I'm heading up this contingent of the 210 Traffic Safety Committee in support of this bill. I'm a 45-year resident of the Indian Head Highway community. And for the last 6 years, the 210 Traffic Safety Committee has been fighting for enforcement and for speed laws to govern the large loss of life that we have on Indian Head Highway. in the last 16 years, we have lost 91 people who have perished on traffic accidents on Indiana Highway. Indiana Highway is only 14 miles of Prince George's County in the span of roadway. 14 miles. We've lost 16 people in the last, we've lost 91 people in the last 16 years. We lost 10 people last year on this roadway. Now, we have 3 active cameras, speed cameras, that you all have passed that have helped us in this endeavor. But here's what these active speed cameras have shown. In the last 3 months, of active reporting, for each one of the 30 days period of reporting, these speed cameras have shown 11,237 people have gone over 67 miles per hour on the highway. These speed cameras also reflect the high speeds that are on the highway. Each month, I get a report from AED and Automated Enforcement Division of the highest speeds that are each camera will report in the 30-day period. In the last 3 months of reporting, we have an average mean speed on Indian Head Highway of 155 miles per hour on a 55 mile per hour roadway. 155 miles, that's the average speed. We've had people to go up to 172 miles an hour on this roadway, on 55 miles per hour roadway. We've entered a new era where people feel entitled to go whatever speed they feel they can do without having meeting enforcement. So we're trying to enforce this bill because what this new bill does is give a parallel sort of fines as though you were pulled over by a cruiser police department individual.
Thank you.
So we want that to be the norm for these cameras, no longer the $40 fine. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next.
Hello, my name is Sandra Hall again, and I just have a quick story. In 2019, I was going down 210, and my husband and I was going on our way to visit our daughter. And around 1 p.m. on a sunny day, we were hit. It was a multiple car incident. The car that hit me drove off. Substantial damage. My husband was taken to the hospital. I believe that if there was a camera at that location, that we could have gotten that driver who drove off and left the rest of the drivers there to pick up the pieces, not only to their vehicles, but to their lives. It is vitally important that we address this bill and pass this particular bill. And again, so when fines are increased, I believe we will see a reduction in the speed, and also distracted drivers will also pay attention to what they're doing. So I urge you more than that. I implore you to pass this bill, again, to reduce the staggering deaths that we've seen, as Dr. Screen has read off to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Herbert H. Jones III. Good evening, Madam Chair, delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Again, my name is Herbert H. Jones III. I'm the president of Tallinn North Area Civic Association. Our association has over 600 homeowners, and we stand in full support of Bill 306-24. And would like to thank our delegate, Mama Ramos, and the entire Maryland Legislative District for the continuing advocacy in this life and death struggle regarding the safety of 210. The 210 safety issue should be a concern to all Marylanders as a major quality of life matter. We have a serious conundrum here with the need for major road and other infrastructure improvements that could possibly boost and make it more attractive for economic growth with respect to the safety of 210. Support of this bill would be a move in the right direction. Speed cameras, along with aggressive law enforcement, has shown to make a difference in changing culture and behavior. That's what we're trying to do, change behavior. This legislation would add another important tool in the toolbox. The current penalty system is not designed to change driver behavior. And we think moving forward, this bill would show the impact of changing that behavior. This bill will save lives and contribute to the sort of quality of life that we all deserve. In closing, we support the legislation and look forward to expedited approval. Thank you on behalf of the Italian North Area Civic Association.
All right, thank you. All right, I think that's it for 306. Okay.